Okay, here we are, HAI partner, and we're with Stefan Krassin from YASP, CEO and co-founder of YASP. Stefan, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Pete. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and we had talked about this just before we started recording, but you're currently in Germany. You said Freiburg.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's in the south of Germany. I'm privately based in Freiburg, but we have office in Munich as well. And also the other part of the company is based in Montreal, in Canada, where we have also an office as well.
Hmm. How did you pick Montreal? Just curious. Or is
Yeah,
it
it came
just
from
you
the
there
past.
and
Yeah,
go ahead.
it came from the origins of YASP. So I founded YASP beginning of 2023. It's not a classical startup. It's more kind of spin-off as well of some activities in the past, where we then directly hired the core development team. And the core development team, the most of them, of those members, have been already in Montreal, around Montreal, and Canada, and then also one or two of those members in Germany. And then we decided directly to have that kind of organization in Canada and in Germany. Makes a lot of sense also covering the time zones as well. So -6, so we almost work and can cover 24. So 24.
That's right.
So that really helps a lot. Really good.
Interesting. Yeah. I know there's McGill University there, some really good universities. So going back to kind of we're starting now, we're talking about kind of where YASP came from for folks that don't know. So what's the origin story behind YASP? You said you founded in 2023, so it's not too long ago. Was it a spin out from some research, or was it just
Yeah,
some great?
it was a spin-off of a cooperation of former companies, one of my co-founders company and myself. And I have technical background. I studied electrical engineering, worked as an embedded engineer, led also a company as well, grew that. And my partner or the other co-founder, he had an AI startup. Then that AI startup got acquired, but in between we were kind of collaborating already together.
Mhm.
Um, we're discussing different kind of projects and within the other startup, there was then a kind of core team where we had really the chance then to directly take that over, hire that team, and continue directly then also with our activities around our agentic AI compiler.
Yes, well, let's talk about that. So compiler companies are always interesting. So actually, before we get into the tech a little bit, so you have a seed round. I think I read that. So you have a little bit of funding, right?
We had. So yeah, let me start at the beginning. So why
Okay.
why why did we started that activity around the AI compiler?
Yeah.
Um, Initially, as we have also figured a lot of issues or challenges in the market. So we had dependencies towards a very big yeah, chip vendor for our AI workload to train our own models as well, but also then to deploy that. That was a big hurdle also and very costly as well, quite expensive. And what we usually then have also seen is you have this kind of dependencies towards this big player, the green player here, and at the same time you have a team running the training for the models, but on the other side, it's a completely separate team for the inference to make that more efficient to run those models, either in the cloud or also on the edge devices.
Mm.
And we took a decision, or we have seen then also during our development, where we said, okay, more than 80% of our time is spent on AI infrastructure. We were not really also being able to focus on our core development itself, and but also from the market feedback as well. We have seen this, where we then said, okay, let's try really to crack that nut, and solve that problem. Why not using AI to optimize AI? So that means why not building an compute stack in between the standard training frameworks and the vendor-specific architectures and compiler stacks. We do not want to compete with the big players, and they have an army of compiler engineers at all. But there is a gap in between. How to run the models very efficient, also custom models, very efficient to the specific targets, to the specific architectures as well, and also get rid of the dependency. So that means being more hardware agnostic on the training side, but also how to get that model seamlessly deployed for the inference. That was the challenge.
Right, right.
Yeah, exactly. And then we started with our team working on that. Had a lot of great ideas. First, have a really excellent team. The good thing here is we have a really experienced team. They're not just graduates from university. So the team at all has more than, or each team member has more than 10 years of experience in the industry. So, and then we said, okay, let's decide for focusing really on the AI infrastructure, creating that unified compute stack to optimize the development of AI in general, of any kind of AI workload. So that means at the end, any model, any target, any hardware, any compute. That's exactly our claim, long term. So meaning at the end, the customer doesn't have now to change its code base. It's just a few lines of code integration of our compiler, and with parameters, you can decide I want to run on vendor A, vendor B, vendor C, and with a one-click solution, you can then very seamlessly deploy then later on the model to the target.
Do you assume that it's so there's do you assume that on the source end, on the training end, there's sort of a single target? You mentioned the big green partner, like that.
Yeah.
It's typically where a lot of people train their models, but and then there's like lots of different endpoints, or are you assuming that either side is variable?
It's variable because I would say the good thing is that the green company is claiming themselves as a software company, and that's exactly the right way. Yeah, so it's all about the software stack, the software support, and then you can really get the benefit, the last juice out of the architecture, out of the chip.
Yeah.
That's quite very important. And the others, they started, we are a chip vendor. We build chips, we build the hardware, but are lacking on the software support. So some of them go open source, get community support and all those to try to speed up the process, but they are still lacking. And at the end, it's a user experience. So the user decides, the end customer decides for a solution where the ease of use is given. But they can still get more juice out of the target, also for the green company. And this is what we proved. So a lot of benchmarks are very promising within our development. And if everything goes the right way, we will launch our product by end of the year.
Excellent. And so are you using some sort of intermediate, we should probably get you on for a big long technical talk and you can actually walk through all the code and stuff, but are you using like Onyx or some sort of intermediate format that you're going from as you're using as a portability framework, or you just sort of like, brute forcing it?
No. So our idea is not to build up something proprietary. So our idea is really to have an intermediate representation of the models, convert that intermediate representation, and then have really the standard interface and the standard models. Our goal is not to force the customer learn any new languages or any new toolings. They have their existing development framework for training and inference. And as I said, with just a few lines of code, they can very seamlessly then integrate our compiler, do some configurations as optimized for speed, optimized for latency and throughput. And at the end, they really get impressive speed up of the training itself of the model. And then it makes automatically ready for a seamless deployment for the edge inference or for the inference at all.
Got it. And is there an opportunity for, there's so many, as you know, AI acceleration semiconductor companies out there doing interesting things. all the way out to the neuromorphic edge, as well as kind of more the MPU class. Is there some kind of, or are you expecting some kind of SDK or DDK where someone could, plug their funky chip into your system?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and that's also one of the reasons why I'm so excited really to join that foundation here, the Edge AI Foundation, as really getting the network and the connection also to those kind of chip makers, but also maybe some kind of champions or rising stars in the background who have specific accelerator chips. Yeah, so
Mhm.
because our compiler works like this. As I said, we are using some of AI as well, at some part, but our approach is to have a kind of closed loop system. We have to um, be aware of the hardware as it's
Mhm.
optimizing itself in a closed loop all the time and generating not only the dynamic kernels for the specific target, but also optimizing the entire module, the
Mhm.
entire model then, for that. So that means if an accelerator champion, at the end, an edge accelerator champion comes up and approaches us, it's not a very big deal also to start supporting those architectures then as well,
Mhm.
because it's a fully automated process at all. Yeah, we always claim we are hardware agnostic. Of course, we have to be aware about the target. So that means a better wording would be maybe hardware aware. Yeah, hardware aware compiler.
Sure. Yeah. No, makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, the history of computer science and technology is littered with write once, run anywhere type of efforts. But I think, it sounds like, first of all, the need for model portability is huge, as you know, and that's kind of, so you're definitely filling the gap there. And then using kind of AI, agentic AI, and this kind of closed loop validation optimization techniques makes a lot of sense. So yeah, no, it sounds like it's a exciting thing. So you said you're going to be looking to ship toward the end of this year, which is coming up. And are you selling into like is this a direct developer kind of business model, or what's your model here? Is it like a subscription thing into tool chains, or who's your target?
Yeah. So we're at the moment we are in a beta phase. We're working together with pilot customers. So pilot customers can be on the chip level, can be on the CSP level, cloud service providers, but also can be then the end customers as well. And that's really the good thing. When we start working with a chip maker, with the vendor itself, or when we work together with a cloud provider, we can then directly then get access to the end customers and scale over those. So these are kind of channels for us as well to get the access. And at the end, of course, we plan also partly we plan also to go open source as well some points. So there are a lot of discussions as well. But at the end, it will end up in a subscription based model as well for the customers, where we'll have a free package as well, and then specific packages then for the individual customers as well.
Got it. Got it. No, that makes sense. And so is this your first startup?
It's my first startup, actually. Yes, yes. So worked over 15 years now, so more than 20 years now in the industry.
Mhm.
Um, and during those times, I worked in our family-owned business. Grew up there. Worked as an embedded engineer. Then started leading the company, and then finally really said, okay, that's a really great opportunity. We have a great solution for a really huge problem at the
Yeah.
moment, and
Yeah.
it's the right timing. I want to go that way. I want
Yeah.
to go that journey, and yeah, so took the decision to do that.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's exciting. The Edge AI Foundation itself is a small business as well. So that's we have to run it as a startup as well. And there's lots of different decisions and things you can bet on and experiments you can run, but you have to run the business. I was going to ask you, so maybe you can give us a little background on the word YASP. Yet another what? Or is a reference to that acronym?
No. Yeah, YASP is just a kind of it's just a random name, honestly.
Oh,
I feel it's positive. So before we had another name, um, in when we have been in stealth mode. Then
okay.
we closed the seed round beginning of the year in May this year successfully, and then we have realized, oh my god, okay, the previous name was already trademarked in Europe, but it was not that bad because we have been in stealth mode. The name itself was not that famous or well known in the
Right.
market, and we said, okay, now let's take the chance and find a new name.
Mm,
And yes, sounds positive. It's a yes with a P.
true.
So internally within the team, it's always it's not a no, it's always a yes. So
Yes.
quite yes, exactly. Powerful.
So I used to be a BIOS engineer, and we used to have a tool called YASP that was
Yes.
stood for yet another CMOS editor. And I've also, I also work with on a project called ACRI, which is another Kubernetes resource interface, AKRI. So that's why I was wondering if YASP was like yet another software something, but it's just
Maybe
YASP.
yet another software provider, but internally within the team, we are already joking about that. So there are a lot of ideas.
Okay, good. Well, no, it's a good positive name, and it's pretty unique. I mean, when you go and Google it and stuff, there's not a lot of YASP stuff out there. So I think you've
That's
got a
right.
good edge on it. I was going to ask you, coming into the foundation, we have a number of startups, pre-seed and kind of Series A startups. What have you seen, especially in the super noisy AI environment? Like, what are your concerns about kind of cutting through the noise and getting the attention that you need? Like, how are you addressing that?
So I'm always a fan of having really something in hand to prove.
Mm,
That means we can we can really convince with our product, with our numbers. So as soon as we have really impressive numbers for the making the training better, speeding up the training times, but also improving the inference. And if we say and talk about X 1 point, I don't know, like 1.1, this is not impressive. No? But we have already now benchmarks where we see really high numbers already for inference, but also for training. And as soon as we have those numbers and we can really do the
mm,
communication, I am
mm.
always convinced saying, okay, the product, I cannot say the product sells itself, but
Right.
we make
Speaks for
enough noise. Yeah,
yes.
so technically we always have to convince technically with the product itself, and then you can start really getting visibility, and then you get also accepted in the market.
Right. Right. Well, yeah. No, it makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, if the product's good, then that's the core. That's the core
Yeah.
thing. And
Yeah.
like you said, with your stuff, it's kind of the proofs in the pudding in terms of the numbers. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be
But
pretty unique.
maybe just adding to that, of course, it's important to build up a network. That's also quite very important. And as we see now in the foundation here, the Edge AI Foundation is really growing. What I see as well, also when I talk to the colleagues from the Edge AI Foundation, really great guys, very supportive as well.
Mhm.
And the got also a lot of introductions already. Yeah, and kind
Oh,
of
good.
so events. So makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense
Good.
altogether.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, there is a stack. I call it layers and players. So there's
Yeah.
layers and then there's players, and it has to sort of all work together.
Yeah.
Actually, before we started recording this, I noticed in the news today that Qualcomm acquired Arduino. So speaking of partners making friends, that seems to be
Oh,
NJF Foundation seems to be the place to make friends. I think that's our new slogan. Um, because there just seems to be a lot of that stuff going on, but it's a dynamic space. Fantastic. So you're in Germany, you're in Montreal. Are you doing any business in Asia right now, or you're kind of focused on European?
not in Asia, but also in the US market as well. So we
Hmm,
have a lot of yeah POCs, projects, pilots going
no
on.
Bay
Also,
Area, no Bay Area folks yet. You haven't cracked the.
Not yet, but we are talking to a lot there as well, and so that means our core markets are, of course, Europe, Canada, and then also US. So we will open very soon also an entity, and we get visibility also in the US very soon. So it's start growing now.
Yeah, well, it's one step at a time, one success at a time, right? It's interesting when you talk about model portability. So and silicon partners, it's an interesting dynamic. There's I believe in the tech world, everyone wants to commoditize everybody else. That's kind of the dynamic. So and to a certain extent, silicon partners don't want model portability because they don't want people moving from their chip to someone else. That being said, if you're in second place, you do want portability so that you can get the models from someone else's platform onto yours. So it's an interesting dynamic. I'm sure you're seeing that when you're sort of working with partners, like which partners are really motivated for portability versus others that are sort of grudgingly engaging in portable efforts. But yeah.
I think you always have to be open. You always have to be open also for the others. It doesn't make sense to close the doors towards others. Also, the word itself, competitors, is also not really sure if that is always the right wording. Also for the big players as well. Yeah, there can be maybe a new startup building a new AI accelerator chip for specific applications. Of course, you can call that as a green big company. It's a competitor, but you could also maybe somehow benefit out of that. Yeah. So I'm always more open for collaborations as well. The market is big enough at all like this. And if you really say, hey, I don't want to have this portability of modules because this customer has just to be be focused on my side. Yeah, what are you doing? You're forcing the customer creating code specifically only for their architecture. They will not be happy in the future.
Right.
They want to have the independency want to be independent of taking a decision. At the end for going for other vendors. The same on the cloud side. Same on the cloud side. All the CSPs. It doesn't make sense to say, yeah, that's my customer as well. Yeah, because we had also discussions about, okay, we are speeding up the training times. Okay, directly we can say, okay, the cloud provider can say, no, yes, reduces the revenue on our side. No, we bring added value to the customer to get more benefit, to bring more service to the customer.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you're on a good journey. And like I said, we should schedule a deeper tech talk so we can kind of walk through the tools and the code and the results and all that stuff. But yeah, it's kind of it sounds like you're in a spot to solve a really serious problem that's going to open up a lot of opportunities. So appreciate you being part of the foundation and making friends, and look forward to meeting you in person at some point in the future.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having us. And maybe meeting us in the Taipei event.
Taipei, yes, I will be there.
Okay, perfect. Then let's meet there.
Okay. All right. Take care, Stefan. Thanks.
You too.